welcome to the Plans of the Righteous. We are at the Real Talk Show. Yes, we are live on Wednesday. Yes, we're talking about Wealthy Wednesday. Yes. So if you have not, do me a favor, take some time out to invite a family, invite a friend, invite somebody that needs to be a part of this show today. We are going to have ourselves a wonderful time. We have an awesome guest. For those who don't know me, I am Cynthia L. Robinson. I am a business coach. I am a coach, a planner coach, and I'm a faith-based entrepreneur, and I enjoy helping faith-based entrepreneurs succeed, yes, in this season. Recently, we launched a program which is called the P2S, Prepare to Succeed. It was an awesome 13-week. It ends on December the 27th. We will have registration coming open again for the new year, which we will be opening up really, really soon. We have a 5-day Level Up Your Business Challenge coming up soon. You'll be able to register for that. And don't forget the 2022 Devotional Planner the 2022 Devotional Planner is Destined for Greatness. We'll be launching the pre-orders soon, so you'll be able to get your orders in soon. And we're praying that we can get those in before Christmas. So let us all say a prayer. We have a awesome guest here with us tonight. Well, I'm used to saying tonight, but y'all, I gotta realize this is in the morning. We have a wonderful guest here with us this morning, and she is gonna come in and just blow your minds, okay? We have Elle Ingles here with us. She has a pressure-free product and service that she offers, and I absolutely love it. Elle, come on from behind the curtains and introduce yourself, honey.
Hi, good morning.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining me this morning. I see you already got your Christmas decoration up. I love it. It's beautiful. Okay, Elle, I'm putting up my tree today. I'm not going another day without me putting up my tree. My grandson has to come in here and he got to see this whole house decorated with Christmas decoration.
Oh, I think that's beautiful. You know, I don't know what it is, but this year I just feel so much in the spirit of the baby Jesus. Like the love and forgiveness, the message of love and forgiveness. And I've got my stairs all decorated here.
Oh, yes.
I've been doing that decorations today. But I haven't we always had a real tree with our kids growing up. So our kids are grown now. And when we moved in here, we just didn't bring one in. And we're on the 3rd floor of a condo unit, right? So all the way up the stairs, right?
I can see you now.
I said to my husband, I said, I don't know, maybe this is my last Christmas on earth. I don't know why, but I want to just go all in. I want a huge tree. I want to really bask in what this is. Oh, I'm getting teary. Really bask in what this is all about. She loves it when I get teary. So
I do. Bring on the tears, okay? That's God in the midst of it. Yes, I love it. You know, I love it. So, you know, that means I have to start putting up my Christmas decorations today. That means no more, because that was one of my goals that I had for this week anyway, was to start putting up my Christmas decoration. And I decorate everything. I love it. I decorate the bathrooms. Bedrooms.
oh my gosh. You better send me pictures. I want to see this.
I usually put up 2 trees. But I'm only putting up 1 tree this year. I don't know. Let me see. I don't know. But
see how
I usually put up 2 trees. Yes, I have the people pass by my house. They knock on the door. Ma'am, can we come in and walk through your house? No, absolutely not. you can check out what's on the outside. The stuff that's in the inside is for us.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Okay, so listen, do me a favor. Introduce yourself.
Okay. I'm Cynthia's friend, and I'm the woman who fell in the mud this morning. Literally, I slipped in. It's snowy out here, and there's snow all over everything. And I was on the side of a road, and I fell into a mud puddle. And if I didn't have my pressure-free tools that I'm going to share with you today, if I didn't have that method, and if I didn't also really understand my body, have mind-body connection, I probably would be very hurt right now. In fact, a man stopped in his car and asked if I was okay. Like that's what it probably looked like. Like, oh man, she got hurt, right? But I didn't, which is a blessing, of course.
Yes, but, that's truly a blessing. I'm glad you're okay.
As Cynthia mentioned, I'm the creator of a method. So I created the pressure-free method. It's an on-the-go stress management method. So this is something that you use all day to protect yourself from stress, anger, anxiety, all of those behaviors that really wreck our life, like blaming others, like getting really bossy, that other B word that we don't like to use. Seriously, I mean, that was me before my method. I would get real snippy and snappy, like, come on, guys, come on, right?
I'm not raising my hand, but can you see my hand if I put it up just a little bit?
I see that. I see that. And acknowledgement sets us free. Our, life is messy. And when we acknowledge, that begins the setting free process, So I honestly had to get real with myself. I didn't even think I needed to use my own method on myself when I started this whole thing in 2010. I was coaching my son's baseball team because they asked me to. I was coaching clients. And then all of a sudden I'm like, let's get big here. I need to use this on myself. And the transformation was truly remarkable. It was, I never want to go back to the old me, those blaming behaviors, those bossy B word, binging. You're just trying to comfort yourself with food, with Netflix, with alcohol, whatever you're trying to just comfort yourself with because you're in such a state of mind that nothing feels good and you just want to feel comfort. So moving out of those nasty behaviors that really erode our relationships, especially, I'm going to guess there's some enlightening men on here, but a lot of women too.
Actually, there are some men on here. There's some women on here. There's, good morning, good morning. We got everybody saying good morning. Yes, we have some men and we have some women on here. And you just really hit me upside the head because I've been binging.
Yeah.
Listen, I've been binging on sweets, like cakes. I'm not going to call out my friend who's been baking these cakes every week. And then I'm her taster. I've been binging on her stuff. I've been dying. When I say dying, okay, not dying, but I have been longing for, and everybody can tell you that's in my accountability group and in the Bible study, all I talk about is red velvet cake and caramel cake. And don't forget the boiled peanuts. So would that be binging if I don't eat dinner and eat the boiled peanuts instead? Or I don't eat dinner and I eat the cake instead with some ice cream sandwiches?
Just to top it off. Let's just go all in with the binging, right? If we're gonna do it.
That would be probably why my cheeks are a little bit more, Johnny, you don't have to go there. Yes, you don't have to go there. But my cheeks might be a little bit more puffy right now because I've been going in on the boiled peanuts and the caramel cake and the red velvet cake and the key lime cake.
Well, isn't it interesting that this time of year, there's so much temptation?
Yes.
This time of year, there's so much temptation. We have our favorites. We have our things. And, let's go back in time to your grandparents, my grandparents. In fact, I remember my father telling me that when he was growing up on the farm, if they got an orange at Christmas, that was the treat. They didn't have sweets like we have today. They didn't have that abundance of stuff like that. Like, it was a big treat to get an orange. He got coal in his stocking one year too. So just listening to his stories, in fact, I was just thinking this morning that we're the last generation connected to the generations that didn't even have cars. Like, the next generation, they didn't know people who actually didn't have cars, that actually, grew up very rural, my folks grew up on farms, and they made everything, it was a big deal to go to the store and buy anything, right?
Yeah.
Plus the Depression, which knocked everybody.
That just topped it off, right?
Knocked everybody down, like everybody down. And so it's fascinating to think about what we have today and how, and the gratefulness of that. Anyway, I digress. I should get right into sharing with you.
But actually, you know what? You actually just touched on a point that is actually kind of conclusive to what we're going through right now. You touched on the Great Depression, but guess what? This pandemic has brought forth a Great Depression for many people.
Many people.
How have you been able to serve in your industry with people who's going through depression, anxiety?
Oh my goodness.
People don't want to leave their homes. How are you able to assist them?
Yeah. So let's dive into that a little bit, because I have a woman who has been in a depression since she was age 10. She's in her late 50s. She lost her mother when she was 10 years old. And her stepmother created a rift between her and her father because she was jealous of the relationship with the little girl. So she's literally been locked in depression for 40 years.
Oh, wow.
And she, so this is how I worked with her. I taught her how to not overreact and not release the fight or flight stress response hormone.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about hormones, which is a word I thought I would never say to anybody, but it is what I have to talk about all the time. So stress is not the silent killer, by the way. You'll see that written a lot. Stress is a silent killer. It's the release of these hormones. So some people say, well, I love stress. I love challenges. It's great as long as you don't release these hormones in your body. And these are ones you've probably heard of adrenaline.
Yes.
So the moment we go into fight or flight for even the slightest thing, like let's say those people come to your door, Cynthia, and you're trying to make supper and you're like, what are these people doing here? Did you see my face go, what are these people doing here? That's a clue. My face was a clue that I was annoyed. Annoyance, there are, I call these the A emotions. Annoyance is one of them. Just the slightest annoyance can cause your heart rate to rise and you release these hormones. So that was my big one, by the way, because I get annoyed at all kinds of little things. I say this way too much, but dirty things just left on the floor drives me. I raised 3 boys, and probably the biggest boy is my husband. Okay, so I still live with him after a 40-year relationship, married for 33 years. Like, I'm still with this guy, so he comes home and everything just goes on the floor all the way to the bedroom, right? And there's the coat and there's the backpack and there's this other bag and so
somebody put me too.
I have to guard myself to not overreact to that. I mean, why am I overreacting to something on the floor? That's an overreaction. Yet for my whole life until 2010, I overreacted to that.
Wow.
I help people figure out, what are you overreacting to? It could be the slightest thing. It could be the slippery roads that are out here today, if you live up north. It could be that you have a child who's going through something really difficult, or a parent, someone in your family, maybe someone with COVID. You've got something going on and it's weighing on you. So anytime you feel anxious or afraid, anytime you feel annoyed or angry, anytime you feel ashamed. So that's a really kind of sneaky one, because you could feel ashamed about something that happened when you were 7.
Yeah.
Well, reels up that, oh, I was mean to that person. I was mean to that kid on the playground. Still in your head, right?
Yeah.
Years. And also the last day, and I don't think I've ever talked about this with you, Cynthia, but it's abuse. And when I use that word abuse, I don't even mean the big ones, okay? I mean even the small environmental ones, like
Mm-hmm.
loud sound, or somebody's talking to you in that voice that scares you or
Mm.
you. So, if I get into that pinched voice with my kids, they don't listen to me. They tune out, and you'll see that, right? They tune out.
Okay.
Listen to the pinched voice of either a male or a female. I've worked with
Uh-huh.
professionals like C-suite executives to help them get their voice open because they get their 360 review and people say, in these meetings, I don't really like how they speak to us, or it's not so much what they're saying, it's this.
Yeah. And I can agree with you on that. Yeah, I truly can agree with you on that.
So opening up this and opening up our bodies to love and to connect is a part of what I teach people. So sometimes all of the stress is up in here. It's manifesting in bodies. In fact, I was talking to a man who helps people with succession plannings. Like, you have a business, now you're going to hand it over to your kids. Like, how's that all going to work?
Yeah.
For you who are business owners, even if you're just a small entrepreneur, if you want your business to continue and you're getting up in age, you got to do that planning. And he said, tell me how I would know someone needs to work with you. And the first thing that just blasted out of my mouth was, anyone who takes any medications every single day. Have to take a medication every single day. That means you have a chronic situation happening in your being. If you have a chronic situation happening in your being, the number one cause is the release of these hormones. They mess up your mind and your body, and they cause every chronic disease or make those diseases worse. So that was the first thing that just popped out of my head. Like, if you have pre-metabolic syndrome, my father had diabetes. He had heart disease starting in his late 30s, was diabetic starting in his late 30s, so diabetes 2. And then my mom died of cancer. Those are all serious diseases. And we lost our folks way too young. My mom was only 68.
Wow.
I got to share this. I don't care if you've been listening too, but when I use this method on myself, a couple things transformed right away. And one of them was that I always had, if I got a mammogram, I had dense fibrous breast tissue. Well, that's a precursor to breast cancer. So I was always a little bit afraid, like, not if it's going to happen, but when. When I used the program on myself, my breakthrough happened at about 8 weeks. My tissues completely changed. They're completely normal. Now that's crazy. Like, it was so crazy. I showed my mother-in-law, who's like 90 something at the time.
I gotta show you this. Look at this, okay?
Bless her heart. But she had lost a breast, so she got it. She knew why this was important to me. She understood. And so not triggering those stress hormones allows your body to reset and heal very, very quickly. I'm going to go back to the woman who's been in depression for so long. She's an extremely talented composer and musician. At about the 4-week mark, she says, I don't need to use my glasses to read music anymore. What is going on? So if you have eye issues or dry eye issues, we actually shut off our tear ducts in fight or flight. The other thing that happens is we can't get the nutrients of the food that we eat out to our extremities, out to our brain, out to our eyes. That's why if you have like mouth sores, I had eczema all over my hands for years. My first big violin competition. So I'm a violinist and conductor, and I ran a symphony for years. These hands were covered in eczema. At age 13, a lot of people suffer from eczema. In, again, that 8-week period, I could actually touch the skin on this knuckle for the first time in my life.
Wow.
It was always cracked and open and bleeding. Always. And I never thought that would ever heal. I thought I just had to live with it. Do you have something that you feel like, I'm just going to have to live with it?
Me personally, I don't. No. Do I need to go back to the binging? Maybe I should go back to the binging.
Yeah,
That's probably because body wise, health wise, I don't really have any issues. But I can honestly tell you, I have truly stepped out of what I normally do not do, which is this eating right now is ridiculous. When I tell you it's ridiculous, it's utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
So for me, that would be my thing right now, because everything else, but I know other people that, go through, they have the health issues. My mom has health issues with the diabetes. She has the high blood pressure. Her blood pressure is actually high and low. So they're trying to figure out how to figure it out. So they have her on 2 different types of blood pressure medicines to keep it sustained, which is crazy.
That is crazy. And the thing is, when our blood pressure is measured, most of us, when we go to a physician, we've triggered fight or flight, just going to the doctor's office. And so when that blood pressure is measured, it's reflecting that you've already triggered fight or flight. So that's really interesting. You're at some point in the cycle. Here's a deal that most people don't understand. When you trigger these hormones, for males, it's an up to 9-hour cycle. There are 2 floods of hormones until your body's finally back to normal, and all your cells have dissipated the hormones out and they're working correctly again. 9 hours is a long time. That's your whole day trying to work, or whole night trying to sleep, which is why so many people have sleep issues. So many people get tired at 3, those kinds of things.
I have sleep issues. I forgot about that because I'm so used to not sleeping. It doesn't faze me. My bad. I do. I have sleep issues. I don't sleep. I'm up all night long. So
there's a thing right there. And here's the deal for women, and this is going to make so much sense for you. When women trigger fight or flight, it's an up to 24-hour cycle. 24 hours. Okay, so 9 hours, 24 hours. That's a big deal, right? But how many times have you had an argument? Here's the male, here's the female. A few hours later, he's pretty cool. And you're like, no, you should still be angry, right? We're still angry the whole next day. We're still in the argument, trying to figure it out. And why aren't they upset still? And they've moved on. They're on the next thing.
Not in my relationship, Elle. I think I must be the male. We switch roles.
Yes.
I'm the male in the relationship because after I said what I've said, I'm done with it. But it's the opposite. So I get what you're saying, but it's so weird that you say that because, we don't think in our minds how all of this actually come into play. And when I met you and I heard about your method, it was so good for me because remember when we talked, I was having the pains in my shoulder and my neck. And Elle gave me some tips and she gave me some movements and stuff. And voila, y'all can't stop me now. Okay. I've been on it. I have been on it ever since. But I see that you actually have another program that you getting ready, that you're launching or that have been launched or something.
Yeah.
And it's pertaining to, because this channel is about business and all of that. And I see that you have a method for dealing with your financials. So how is it that this all comes into play with your financials?
Yeah. Let me share about that a minute. I've got what are the biggest stressors? Body, right? Health, relationships, right? So money is a really big issue for so many people. Even I coach people who are C-suite execs with tons of money. Doesn't matter how much money you have. If you stress about it, you're releasing those hormones and it's affecting you. And when we are blessed to have more income and more money in our lives, up levels the responsibility too. And how we're using that in the world. So I see people just so, and I've been there too, just so compoundedly stressed. with living on this planet. So when you break the trust cycle and you don't overreact, like if you open your bank statement and you see the balance and you're like, oh crap, I have 4 bills that need to be paid and I don't have enough money in my checking account. Like those thoughts, all those little things. And right now with what's gone on in the past 2 years, people are in that so much.
Yeah.
If we overreact and then we try to be our business people selves, there's a disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't trust us because they can sense our worry. They can sense our body will show it with tightness, like the tightness that we worked on together. If you're tight, you're repelling people and you're repelling money and wealth. And so in order for wealth to work in your life, you need to get your head out of the sand. You need
Uh-huh.
to look at the bank balance, not overreact, and move right into solution-based thinking. One of the ways I teach people to do that is instantly say, how can I? Because here's what we'll do. And this is me in the old days, I'd see that bank balance and go, oh my God, why am I so bad at saving my money? And now I can't even buy a Christmas tree. Like, I got to feed the family this month, you know? Here's the other thing. We often have hidden money in places. When we were going through one of the toughest times in our family situation, my husband was like, where did you find this? I sold rings. I sold some gold. Like, I don't have a lot of jewelry, but I had a couple of rings. I sold them. And I looked at one account that I didn't want to touch. And I'm like, I'm going to touch this.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm in a mode that I need this. So we have far more resources than we usually think. I mean, looking around my little condo, what could I sell?
Yeah.
We have things that are of value. And moving into the great, and some things were very hard to part with, but I was like, in the spirit of allowing someone else to have this, I'm moving money. I'm in the energy. I'm in the flow.
Right.
When your body is tight, when your mind is tight, you're stopping the flow. And think of the creative energy that created us. The God energy that created us is all flow. It's all flow and it's all multiplication.
Ooh.
The cells divide
Wow.
exponentially, right?
Yes. I love that. I
So
love that.
in your prayer life, moving into the creative energy that created you, that creative energy does not want you to be ill.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't want you to be anxious. It doesn't want you to be poor. It wants you to give your gifts and talents in a way that there is flow. And when you move into that flow, things start to happen. Most people have a lot of tension in their hips, their butt, and their lower abs, their abdominal muscles.
Uh-huh.
If I put a hand on your belly and relax your belly, and you probably were holding some tension there.
Mm-hmm.
When you relax your belly, you tell your brain instantly that you're okay. The secret to the pressure-free method is timing. When you start to feel the tension, when you open up that bank balance and you're not happy about it, you have 10 seconds to not overreact. 10 seconds is plenty of time. By the grace of God, we have 10 seconds. How amazing is that? And we have a thinking brain. Once you go into fight or flight, though, you don't think very well because this whole thing shuts down. I want to take an example of a child for a moment because some of you may have children or grandchildren, and maybe, especially with what's going on the last 2 years, they're not doing so well in school. The grades have plummeted. It's a serious deal. I've worked with quite a few young people through this mess. And here's the deal. No human isn't brilliant. Every human is brilliant. You could look at your neighborhood right now and take the kid who has the biggest trouble in whatever, and we could bring them in this room, and in a half an hour, I could teach them something, and they could go to school and get a straight A.
Yeah.
I had a kid who had all C's and D's. And he came to me for his sports, by the way, because I work with athletes, little athletes too. He came to me for sports. And after our first session, he comes back to the second session. He goes, "This helps with school, doesn't it?" I go, "Yeah, how do you know?" He goes, "I got an A on a history test, and I'm a CD student." That's how he defined himself. I'm a
Wow.
CD student, and he got straight A's. So he ended up, and now he was 12 at the time. He ended up an honor student in high school.
Mhm. Wow.
I mean, what if the kid was still getting C's and D's?
Yeah.
What kind of self-esteem would he have? What kind of self-worth? I'm a
Yeah.
CD student. Notice how kids will define themselves. Here's what I hear all the time now. I'm a high anxiety person. I have a lot of depression, anxiety. We are defining ourselves by these things. And God did not design us that way. Every brain between the ears is pure brilliance.
Mm-hmm.
You have to not trigger fight or flight for the brilliance to shine. Just like the star on the top of that tree. Like, honestly, am I on a roll? Like, I'm so.
Yeah. Listen, but you know what? You just actually brought back something else to my remembrance, is that your process, actually, when you just described it about how we speak certain things into our life. One of the things that I stress and that I incorporate in my coaching processes is affirming, speaking affirmations and speaking positivity over your life. And to the point where even on our accountability group, you know, we're doing daily affirmations because we want to speak those things as though they were. You want to speak it into existence, but their kids or their grandkids are listening to them, and the kids are now saying, "Hey, can I get on and say my affirmation and my I'm grateful statement?" So it goes to show you just how what we do and what we say, people are always listening. Our kids are always listening to the things that we say and we do. And that's the reason why we need to be the best version of us that we can be, because somebody is always watching.
They are. Yeah. And when we argue about money, they hear that.
Yeah.
They hear that. And then they go into scarcity mode.
Yes.
And
yeah.
So our childhood money story, whatever your childhood money story is, it doesn't need to be yours. That's the other thing. If your parents fought about money, if you had a parent who was in major scarcity mode, like, we can't afford that, you heard it over and over and over again. We're not going to do that because we can't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
It can be so subtle. And by the way, it's all socioeconomic levels.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't matter where it falls, you know.
Yeah.
All those little messages are part, and you get to design your own money story and what that is, and your own gratefulness story. And I love that affirmation. Thanks for bringing that forward, because it's so important. And asking the question, how can I? You open your bank statement, you see that number, and you start to freeze. Okay, how can I improve my situation? Notice I'm nodding my head too. Okay, I got this from one of my mentors. Here's what I said to him. I go, "This amazing business." Like, da-da-da. He goes, "No, you're not." What? He goes, "This is what you're doing with your head."
Mm-hmm.
I believe it. So you nod yourself into your affirmation. Nod yourself into agreement with what it is you want to create and solve and bring to life. Make sure
because you're nodding and saying yes. You're affirming it.
You are affirming it. Your body is you're all connected, right? We like some people very unconnected from their bodies, especially if your body has some disease, you'll unconnect from it. So it's like coming into connection with it all can really get things going. And the nodding in agreement when you say your affirmations, like bringing that, your body is saying yes.
Yeah.
You're making this happen. And then so I have a whole money course that I teach people. But the first step really is to get pressure free. Like, you've got to break the stress cycle. And it usually takes anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks for people to really break the cycle. And in 2022, for the first time ever, I've been in business since 2010, so it'll be 12 years. And 12 is kind of a magic number for me. So this is the year that I am launching a Train the Trainer program. Anybody who's a coach, an educator, I mean athletic coach, like business coach, athletic coach, religious coach, pastor, and anyone who helps other people, basically. So physicians, health providers, EMTs, anybody that is in a role where they're helping other people, social workers. I've created a certification program where people are going to learn the pressure-free method, master the pressure-free method, and immediately be able to begin teaching the pressure-free method. And I've designed this program in a way that I've been in a lot of coaching programs, and I've never seen anybody do it. So I'm really super excited about it. After the very first month of launching into the program, I'll be teaching side by side, showing people how to instantly be teaching. You only need to are teaching. This is how I started my business. I had people ask me to teach them. I had no idea how I was going to do it. I just built curriculum 1 week at a time, teaching my first 2 clients and a whole baseball team. That's how I got started. And so I want to empower the people who come into my program to be action takers, to immediately be into the action of coaching pressure free, because my vision is big. My vision is worldwide, that we start little cells of pressure-free living all over the world to reduce domestic violence, to reduce child abuse, to reduce divorce rate, to reduce all the diseases.
Yeah.
80% of doctors' visits are for chronic disease, which is caused by stress hormones. If you're in a cycle, far less people are going to be in pain. I have felt it. And to be out of pain, first of all, when you're out of pain, you don't even know it. When you actually get a real night's sleep, you mentioned that, Cynthia, and I'm going to go back to the woman who was in depression. She now gets up 2 hours earlier every morning, completely alive.
Wow.
You can't even believe it. She has more time in her day. She's energetic throughout her whole day. There's no, I need a nap at 3. And this is a 57-year-old woman, okay? There's no nap at 3. There's no down like, oh, I'm feeling a little, I need more coffee. You don't need that. You don't need anything like that to keep yourself going. You actually feel alive your entire day. And I have another woman. She's an executive. She's a futurist. What a cool term, right? So I go from people who are in bed and can't even get out of bed, and I want to share a little story about that that's powerful, to people who are C-suite execs. So here's an executive at a Fortune 500 company. She texts me for the first time ever. She's not afraid of the dentist chair. And she writes in bold letters, I love this lifestyle.
Wow. So with your method, it actually helped to remove that anxiety that she had with going into the dentist chair.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
That is awesome.
It is awesome.
So anybody that is suffering from any type of anxiety, the pressure-free method is actually a good method for you to actually be a part of.
We're fed a really seriously false myth about anxiety. Right? So typically you think, okay, I'm going to go to mental health specialists. I'm going to talk about my problems. I'm going to help solve all this, right? I have coached people who've been in therapy for years and they are still anxious. They've been on medications for years and they're still anxious. Those medications, by the way, were designed for short-term use. None of them for long-term use. Like ADHD, ADD, all those medications were never designed for long-term use by a human being. So then they have all kinds of symptoms that those particular drugs cause, that's interesting too. So here's the thing. The second flood of hormones, when they release into the body, actually cause the brain to feel anxious for no reason. You know, that kind of like general, why am I so worried? I shouldn't be worried here. That's what's happening. So your biology is informing your psychology. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you kind of faded out a little bit on that
Okay.
last statement. So say that last statement one more time.
So your biology, the release of the hormones hitting the brain cells, is informing how you feel.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. So when we cannot release the first flood of hormones, the second flood doesn't go out. That's huge. So I was recently. I had a family. I used to live in, just down the street from this woman, single mom, 4 kids, and she had to leave her job to take care of her kids when there was virtual school. Like, she's got little kids. She had to leave her job. So she called me and she goes, I need to work with you. It's not going well, right? So I coached her and her 2 oldest, 2 teens. One of the teens was 18, one was 60 and up. So I'm happy to coach. Like, usually I need buy-in from the kids, right? Their mother wants this for them. Okay, so I really like to do it. My first session with the young woman, she's African American. She still had her bonnet on, and she's still in bed. She's literally in bed, and I'm on screen here, like I am with you right now, and she's in bed. Now, some coaches would have said, "I can't work with you today till you're able to get up and go." Not me. I was with her. It's making me cry. I was with her because she was so in depression and anxiety she couldn't. So she's in bed, and I coach her, and I'm just real gentle, and I just give her some ideas to think about. So the next session, a week later, she's still on her bed, and she still has her bonnet on, but she's sitting on the bed. Okay, that's progress, right? That is, to me, that's progress. So we do a little bit more. We do a little bit more. The next time, she's fully clothed, like she's.
So now she done got up. Does she still have a bonnet on? Is what I need to know.
No, she took the bonnet off. I got to see her hair. I got to see her hair.
Okay.
And so we worked together. By the end of the course, the last time we're on screen together, she's a great dresser, by the way, super slick. She's totally dressed cool. She looks amazing. And she's like, I got this, Elle. Like, I've got this. We're friends on Facebook, so I get to see her pictures. Like, she's so cool. This girl is so cool. And she's got style, she's got flair, she's back in friendships. So she goes to me, so get this, Elle. Her mom has her own business now. She's an entrepreneur. And this girl used to work at McDonald's. And she goes, her mom made her quit her job when her grades went down. So now her grades are all back up. And she goes, I go to my mom, can I get my old job back? They really need people. And I want the money. I buy my clothes, so I really want to get back in this. And so her mother goes to her, how about if I pay you more than McDonald's was paying you for you to work in my business? So I'm on a session with the mom, and I go, would you have ever dreamed you would have hired your own daughter based on where she was?
Exactly.
No way.
Yeah.
So their relationship improved. It was just so beautiful to see the transformation. So depression and anxiety is not what people are being told it is, and even what you think it is. The main cause of it are these hormones.
Right.
Because you're in your scared brain. And when you're in your scared brain, you can't think logically. You can't get yourself out of it. In fact, we're human. I'm human. I will trigger for some reason and go under the line. I give myself a ton of grace for 24 hours. I am gracious to myself. Because here's my thoughts. Oh, crap. You're never going to get out of this. You've really done it this time. I'm one of those high achievers, really hard on myself kind of people. Really dark in there. And now I know that's my scared brain talking. That's not my real brain. So it's like
Wow.
I back up, I give
Mhm.
myself grace, I wait it out, and then I hit the reset button. And I make sure I don't trigger again and again. So like a construction worker tool belt, I keep a tool belt right on my belly, right? It's like, use my tools, keep myself safe. You're protecting yourself. My husband is Catholic, and before 2011, I think it was, when you would finish the Lord's Prayer,
Mhm.
Catholic Church, they used to, the last thing the priest would say, I think it was so beautiful, they would say, and protect us from all anxiety. Words, terrible what they the congregation needs to hear, Christians need to hear, all people need to hear that God protects us from all anxiety.
Yeah. God protects us from everything. There's
Right.
not one thing you can take to God that he won't protect us from.
That's right. That's right. And so when I work like with a group of Catholics, if I go in and do a church that's Catholic, I call my program and protect us from all anxiety. That's what Pleasure Free does. It helps you hit that reset button, helps your body and mind reset. So you can actually see the anxiety. You can recognize it and say, okay, I'm not going to overreact here. I love myself. It gets to real deep self-love. I mean, think about that girl again, like really getting her to love herself and experience her self-worth so that she can be amazing until she is.
The best version of her. So once you go through this method, you will still sometimes occasionally have those triggers, but you're teaching a method so that when those triggers come up, when those behaviors show up, you're teaching them the method of how to handle it. So that it decreases the hormones so that I think I got it. I think I got it, y'all. I think I got it. It decreases the hormones so that you don't have that fight or flight method that comes out.
That's right. The only time we need it is if we're truly under attack. Like we go out for a walk and there's a vicious animal after us, right? That's when we need to run or fight. And I have worked with people in the military too. And you know, so they're put in situations where they're having to fight, they're having to do these things. And it was, one of them was a therapist who was in military combat, you know, and working with them was really eye-opening to me to understand that too. But all of us have had some sort of physical threat probably at some time in our life.
Yeah.
That feeling. And so, yeah, it's really breaking habits of reaction that are generations old because we learned this.
Right.
And you didn't just learn it from your guardians, your parents, who raised you. You learned it from anybody who had an influence over you. Some people have coaches that actually put them into fight or flight.
Yeah.
It happened all the time. And I'm like, I'll see people in programs and they'll be sick. And like, they're just triggering the stress hormones over and over again because they feel they can't either keep up or do this work or they're not worthy. Like they're triggering all the time and they're trying to up level at the same time. That's really fascinating for me to watch. And I just have, I don't know, I have a big heart to, I mean, I'll help anybody. I've helped waitresses I've helped servers right in the restaurant who, you know, a nasty customer and you can see it on their face. I've been there. I've been a server. I've been a waitress and I'm like, I'll put my table, hey, let me give you a clue. Like, let me teach you something right here. I can help it. It's just like Jesus walking around. It's like, I can't help but share this message everywhere I go.
That's right. But you know, it's good because it does work. It really does work. So if anybody needs to get in contact with you, because Elle, I just want you to know, it's 11:50. I gotta stop saying that this is a 30-minute show because it's never a 30-minute show. So I need to just take it to a 45-minute to an hour show and then make sure I'm cut off at an hour because literally And I had questions for you, but I haven't asked not one of those questions because the conversation has been so in depth and so good. So, but you have covered a lot. And one of the things that I definitely wanted to make sure we touched on was, how can people get in contact with you? You have a program that's coming up. Tell us when the program is launching, and then tell us how we can get in contact with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will be having conversations with people interested in that Coach Others program, the certification program, all the way through December into January, and we'll be launching at the end of January with the first group call in February. So, okay. So December, January, for anybody who's interested in that. You can go to my website, elleingles.com, and I'm on LinkedIn. Please feel free to connect on LinkedIn, Facebook, any of the ways that you connect with people. I'm happy to be your friend. And then my calendar, if you want to talk with me one-on-one, is speakwithelle.com. And then I can share things out with you. You can always email me too at l@pressure-free.com. That's my email address. And yeah, I'd love to talk with anybody that wants to learn more about this, especially if you are a business owner, you're somebody who touches other people's lives. You know, this method is meant to be shared all over, and I need help. I need help sharing it. You know, I'm only one little being on the planet, and it took me, 12 years to feel like I'm really ready to share the in-depth behind the scenes of how I built this thing to help others be empowered to do it too. So, yeah.
And so I know that you have a program coming up soon. Is it a virtual program or it is a live program?
Are you talking about my 10
online? Yeah, can your certification be done online, or does it have to be in person?
Well, it's online. Yeah. Everything will be online. I am throwing a live retreat, but there will also be a virtual version of it because there may be people in other countries. I have quite a few followers in Africa and in Europe, a few in Asia. So I don't know where people might come from. So it could be in other continents. So there'll be a virtual version of it as well. But it's really cool when we can be together. So there will be a 4-day retreat as a part of this whole program. And this is the charter group. This will be the first group. And then my dream is to just have people from all over the globe keep coming in. And that first group of people will be coming back every year for retraining and connecting in with all these other people too. So that's my vision.
Love it. I absolutely love it. That's amazing. I love what you're doing. I love how you're impacting lives. I love how you're helping to heal everybody's body, mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
That is a key thing for me. And what I love to see with people is them to grow and to be healed internally so they can be their best version of them externally.
Yeah. And it really starts with the soul.
Yeah, it does. It starts with the soul. It does. It starts with the soul.
We can do a lot of things to our bodies and a lot of things intellectually, but if we don't make that 3-in-1 connection, then there'll be places where we're not firing. It's not happening. So.
Yeah. And listen, I have actually at the bottom of the screen, I do have Elle's contact information. She's our featured guest, and you can definitely contact her with her website, which is elleingles.com. elleingles.com. All of her courses and everything that she's doing is on that page, and they can actually schedule an appointment with you on that page too, correct? Okay, so y'all can schedule your appointments and all of that. You definitely want to get connected. If you know of anybody that is going through anxiety with the marital issues as far as relationship, any financial issues, contact her. You want to get contacted. In fact, even if you have kids, what's the youngest age that you work with for kids?
Usually age 10. And when I get on a call with anybody 16 and younger, I have the parents come on too. So we do that call together. And then we can assess if they want to be on the call alone with me or the parent in the room, but to the side, so it's all transparent in how we work. By the way, I work with people of all faiths too. So if you have Jewish friends, Muslim friends, whatever your friends are, truly I work with people of all faiths. So that's sometimes a question I get from people. So, yeah, it's really, it is cool to work with a young person. My youngest son was 10 when he learned this. Completely changed his life.
Wow.
He's an Ivy League student, and he just got an award to be in the 2% of his class in an Ivy League school. It's just crazy, and he doesn't care about any of that. Like, all he cares about is being a good person in the world. Like, it's very, very cool. So.
Well, I'm sure that that saying, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Thank you, sweetie.
Mom and Dad are cool people. So I applaud you for what you've done in your kids' lives, and as well as what you're doing in the industry and changing the lives.
My husband loves you, by the way. And there will be a dance party in a couple nights. I'll invite you. So if you want to pop on his dance party, because you know what that's all about.
I will hop on his dance party, okay? As long as it's not on Saturday night, because my next Real Talk session is on Saturday night, okay?
It's not Saturday.
Okay, so yes, I will definitely hop on for our dance party, because we dance really well together, even though it's virtually. Okay, Elle, tell the people we got to go. We have to go. We got to get up out of here today. Thank you guys for joining the Real Talk Show. We have our featured guest, which is Elle Ingles. I am your host, Cynthia L. Robinson. I am your coach, your business coach. I am your planner coach. And yes, get connected. Connect with Elle through her website, which is elleingles.com. And you can always get connected with me through Plans of the Righteous.com, or you can join our academy at academy.plansoftherighteous.com. I look forward to us launching our 2022 planner, which will be coming out soon for pre-orders. We got Destined for Greatness, you guys. That is what we're doing in this season, Destined for Greatness for 2022. And we have our new P2S, which will be launching really soon for 2022, as well as, actually, we have a 3-day conference coming up, you guys, which is Operation Elevation. The dates are December the 27th, 28th, and 29th. That is going to be coming up soon, where you guys will be able to do the registration for that, as well as our Level Up Your Business Challenge. It's a 5-day business challenge, and we look forward to you guys registering. Let us finish up 2021 and come through with 2022, a brand new us, and doing new things, doing things that's going to develop us, enhance us, and create legacies. Connect with Elle. We got to go to Elle. Tell the people bye-bye. Bye, guys. We'll see you guys on our next episode.